Hi, I'm Lo. I know some of you want me to like roll up in a ball and die and you don't want to hear me talk at all. Here's a time code if you don't care about the sketchbook at all whatsoever. This is where the tour starts. See you on the flip side. Now that there's 3 people left, today we are doing a sketchbook tour of this monstrosity. The cover is not looking very nice anymore and I'm glad it's over. I'm glad this is done. I'm glad I'm no longer having to drag around this yellow. Vad gör du? Vad ska du ta? Ja. Vet du vad den bråkinga det var? Ja. Nej, att du skulle gå och bo där. Ja, det var jävligt dumt. Well, now that he's started the washing, I genuinely hope you can hear the noise of it. This is a Whattup 1917 sketchbook. It has 150 GSM paper, which is thinner than the other moleskine sketchbook, which is I think 165. It is big. You see moleskine everywhere. It is probably the most popular sketchbook except for maybe like Strathmore. I prefer this for the sole reason that it's white. I prefer like proper white paper, whereas moleskine has cream colored paper. Come see, come size, personal preference. But you know, if I could get this colored paper, but in a higher GSM, I'd be very happy. I like the texture because it's very smooth. I don't like a lot of tooth to my paper. And I like it white, like proper white. No, wait, that could be taken out of context. Hold on. I like white paper, okay? Let's not get ahead of ourselves. I have this sketchbook from August 2022 till March 2023. 7 months, which is a bit longer than I wanted it to. My next sketchbook, my goal is to finish it in 4 months, which is such a, you could say ridiculous. I choose to say, looking on the bright side of life and hoping for the best. I will now continue into the actual sketchbook tour. Thank you for watching. Goodbye. The cover of this sketchbook is bad. I wanted to be different and spice things up and get a yellow sketchbook instead of my normal black ones, and I quickly realized I am just not a yellow girly. So to counteract all the yellow, I added more yellow. My favorite is this one because I love stickers with text that have just been ran through Google Translate and does not operate on the level of grammar rules like the rest of the world. The first drawing is just a still life from Still Here, Still Life on Instagram. It's done in red micron, and if you look at it for too long, you will notice several inconsistencies with the perspective. This is just dry as gouache. I hate the way the colors look, especially the blue. Here we go, finally something good. I got very excited when I realized I had somehow figured out how to draw with a pencil. A lot of the time with pencil, things just look too grey because you get too scared of contrast, but here I knocked it out of the park. And the purple is a scented highlighter I have, and I think it is reasonable to assume that I can get high of it. This is one of my favorite spreads. It's just colored pencils and black Posca marker, but it absolutely slaps. This is from when I went on a work trip for 6 weeks to film a Danish reality show. I just drew some photos that I took from my first few days on location. You will probably see some half-assed poetry throughout the book. I actually made the deliberate choice to only have my own writing in the sketchbook. So if you see something and think, where is that from? My brain. I have a love-hate relationship with this because I remember the extreme frustration I had from trying to use a clogged and dry paint marker for the girls. You can clearly see the paint, that has given up, but by God, I had not. It is also another installment of the series. I cannot and will not factor in the length of legs, and they will be outside of the page. These are the first time I ever tried actually drawing semi-realism with alcohol markers, and I was very excited about the results. In the past, I've just put down one color and called it a day, and I also realized that with even the limited marker selection I had, it was doable to a certain degree. I used washi tape to cover the bleed through of the alcohol markers. One of the reasons I often hesitate to use markers is because I don't want to deal with the bleed through on the other pages. I hate these pages. I don't know what came over me. I originally did something in gouache and then I just couldn't stand it, so I covered it with acrylic paint. It is not a good portrait, but apparently better than whatever debauchery was hidden underneath. This is a ballpoint pen drawing of a bedroom that I, once again, beg of you not to look too far into the perspective of. Here we find a lesson in value, kids. This boot, flattest thing I've ever drawn. If I turn on a black and white filter, the entire thing just turns to mush. I thought I had a brilliant idea for love bugs and matching tattoos, and then that dream quickly crumbled and died because I hate the spread. This, however, I love. Once again, working with creating realism with alcohol markers. The grapes down here might be a teeny bit too purple, but that's fine because look at these raspberries. Brilliant. I had this fish in my head for way too long. Like, genuinely just really wanted to paint a fish skeleton. This is a portrait of a friend of mine. I know the numbers have a meaning. I'm guessing I did something with the numbers in our birthday, but I cannot for the life of me figure out what I did and how I got this number. Oh, what's this? A foot sticking out of the page? Other than yet another lack of planning on my part, I really like these pages. At least here, both feet are on the page. I drew suggestions from Instagram, and I do not like how they turned out, except this lady. She's fine. This is a fun little word search, and by fun, I mean insanely depressive. These pages were fun and loose and just made me feel good about not having to be insanely polished. Here we have another attempt at covering marker bleed through with gluing paper over, and this sheep is so fun. Nihilism is always funny when combined with cute animals. These pages I honestly wish I would have just glued together so I could try to forget about them, especially this one. Let's move on. I got jelly gouache as a Christmas present in 2021, and I've kind of been using it mostly as watercolor or acrylic and not really getting the hang of it as gouache. And though this is by far not the best work, I am very happy that I managed to do something that worked with the medium that I was using. Here we have more nihilistic animals. This is inspired by Farah because their painting just reminds me so much of how fun it was to paint as a child when it didn't really matter. So I used my cheap kids watercolor and just went ham. I'm going to be completely honest, this is a cop-out page. I think I was basically just trying to fill a space more than anything. And here starts the journey of my 100 head challenge. I've made an entire video on it if you want to watch that. The original challenge is by Ahmed Al-Douri and it's quite literally to draw 100 heads in 10 days. I didn't quite follow the rules, but I still think it really gave me an ass kicking in portraiture. These rugged men are the main cast of Ice Road Rescue on National Geographic, and the photos were readily available to me because I literally work on the show, so I look at these guys for like 40 hours a week. These are simple monochromatic still lifes. The green is the best, and then it was just all downhill from there. I bought some really cheap crayons in a dollar store, and surprisingly, I really liked the outcome. When I was younger, I would have hated the texture. I was a huge fan of just smooth, flat colors, but you live, you learn, and you develop some taste. This is supposed to be water, and I say supposed to be because you have to be in a really good mood to recognize this as water. This bunny lady also looked better initially because I messed up with the placement of her eyes. I could probably cover them up with black again, but where's the fun in that? This foot is atrocious. The gouache has smudged to the other page, there's bleeding, this entire spread is just a bit of a mess. I don't mind the actual painting, but the poor lady on the left? Help. Once again, I had to glue in black paper to cover marker bleed through. Whatever is going on over here was an idea I got as I was laying in bed about to fall asleep, and I was so fucking excited to do it. But as Gabby Hanna famously said in 2020, manage your expectations. This is yet another moment of the idea being better than the outcome. The dance poses really are not bad, and then I had to go and fuck it up by shoving the rest of the Ditto music video into the spread. I genuinely want to use music videos and TV shows and movies as inspiration, but I need to plan better. More washi used to cover marker bleed through, but I like the effect and decided to not glue anything over it. And this looks fine. 5 out of 10. It's kind of hard to separate the silhouettes, especially this one hand that if I didn't tell you was there, you would have never known. Oh my god, finally something good. This is just colored pencil, but I love it. And the last spread is these two marker portraits. But Annette, I hear you say, what about the bleed through? I finally stopped using my arse as a hat and decided to just glue pages together. I've been afraid of wasting paper, and then I reminded myself that sometimes I won't draw at all because I want to use marker, but I don't want to deal with the bleed through, and that's even dumber. And then to round it off, here are post-it notes with more nihilism ideas for the cute little animals. Thank you for watching, and I'll catch you later.